That's right, a simple 1985 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, something millions of Americans have handled without thinking twice, turned out to be one of the most astonishing discoveries in modern coin history. At first glance, it looks like every other penny. Lincoln's profile, the familiar copper shine, nothing unusual. But this story isn't about what's ordinary. It's about what almost no one noticed, a tiny, hidden difference that transformed a single cent into $1 million miracle. It all began when a small-town collector in the Midwest picked up a handful of change from a gas station counter. Among the quarters, nickels, and dimes, there it was, a 1985 penny that just felt different. The color was slightly off. The texture was smoother. And when he looked closer under the light, he realized this wasn't just another coin. Collectors later confirmed what he had stumbled upon: a rare 1985 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, struck in a way that defied the usual standards of the U.S. Mint. And that discovery would shake the entire coin collecting world. But before we get to that shocking auction result, we need to go back in time, to 1985, a year when pennies were still transitioning between metals. Most were made of copper-plated zinc, but a few were not. Some were struck on leftover copper planchets from previous years, and that's where the story takes a wild turn. The Philadelphia Mint, which typically doesn't carry a mint mark, produced billions of 1985 pennies. But among those billions, a handful were made with critical striking errors, off-center dies, doubled images, or the wrong metal composition. Most of these never left the mint. But a few escaped, quietly slipping into circulation. And no one knows exactly how many. Some say a dozen. Others say fewer than 5. What we do know is that these rare 1985 no-mint mark pennies share one chilling trait: their copper content and strike pattern don't match the rest of the production, and that's what made one collector's find so valuable. When the coin was sent for grading, experts noticed the unusual die impression. Lincoln's bust appeared ever so slightly doubled around the eye and collar, a telltale sign of a double die error. Combine that with the absence of a mint mark and the high-quality strike, and you have a 1 in a billion piece. The grader's hands reportedly trembled when the results came in. MS-67 red, nearly flawless. The kind of condition that turns a coin from pocket change into a fortune. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When this coin hit the auction block, bidding started modestly, a few $100s. But within minutes, the price climbed into the tens of thousands. Collectors from around the globe, from New York to Tokyo, were on their phones, desperate to outbid each other. The final hammer dropped just under $1 million. A single penny, worth more than most people's homes. Dealers were shocked. News spread like wildfire through online forums and coin conventions. Suddenly, everyone was checking their 1985 pennies, those same coins they'd ignored for decades. But here's the part most people don't know. That $1 million penny isn't the only one out there. Experts believe there could still be a few more in circulation, mixed in with regular change, tucked inside old jars, or sitting forgotten in desk drawers. Imagine holding a penny right now that could change your life. First, check the mint mark. The 1985 no-mint mark penny was struck in Philadelphia, which means there's no D or S beneath the date. That alone isn't enough. Most pennies from Philadelphia look that way. The key is in the details. Under magnification, inspect Lincoln's eye, the bow tie, and the Liberty lettering. Look for doubling, where the letters seem slightly shadowed or outlined. That's a doubled die. Then weigh the coin. A normal 1985 zinc penny weighs about 2.5 grams, but the rare copper transitional error versions can weigh up to 3.1 grams. If your scale shows that heavier number, your heart should skip a beat. Next, examine the rim and the edges. On some of these error coins, the edge is thicker on one side, or slightly misaligned. That's a clue it may have been struck off-center, another hallmark of a high-value piece. Collectors have even reported discovering minor variations in the finish. Some appear deep red, almost glowing under certain light, a feature unique to early die strikes before the mint changed batches. Still, many people throw these away without realizing what they have. It's heartbreaking, because every time someone cashes in a roll of old pennies, a treasure could be lost forever. But the story of that lucky collector proves something powerful. Sometimes, life-changing wealth hides in plain sight. A coin that cost 1 cent to make can unlock a dream worth $1 million, if you know what to look for, and that's why coin hunting has become one of America's most thrilling obsessions. From retirees to young treasure seekers, everyone's checking their pocket change with a new sense of hope. Because as we've seen, miracles don't always come in gold or silver, sometimes, they come in copper. So tonight, before you toss that handful of change on your dresser, take one last look. Tilt it under the light. Check the date, 1985. No mint mark. The faint shimmer of doubling on the letters. Maybe even the heavier feel in your hand, because one of those coins out there, maybe even yours, could be the next headline-making discovery. A small, copper-colored coin struck in Denver, the 1998 Lincoln penny, that somehow turned a simple pocket find into a story worth up to $1.1 million. It began like any other day. A coin roll hunter in Colorado was sorting through hundreds of Lincoln cents, searching for rare dates and mint errors. But one coin stood out immediately. The color was slightly off. The shine looked older, deeper. And when he looked closer under a magnifying glass, his heart nearly stopped, because this wasn't just any penny. It was something that even seasoned collectors had only whispered about for years. The 1998 Lincoln penny, by design, shouldn't be valuable. Billions were minted at the Denver facility that year. It's one of the most common coins in circulation today. But this particular one had a secret hidden within its design, a flaw, a trace, a ghostly detail that turned it into one of the most expensive modern Lincoln cents ever found. At first glance, most people would never notice it. But for those who look closely, just below the word Liberty, just around Lincoln's jawline, something is slightly different. It's a striking error, born from a die that was never meant to be used that way. Some believe it was a transitional die used between proof and circulation coins. Others think it's a double die, where the coin was struck twice, creating a faint but powerful doubling effect across the date and letters. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When this coin surfaced at an auction, experts initially doubted its authenticity. They had seen hundreds of so-called 1998 errors before, all minor, all ordinary. But once the coin was verified, the room fell silent. Under high magnification, the doubling was clear, crisp, and flawless. Every detail of the engraving, Lincoln's eye, the letters, even the folds of his coat, carried the faint echo of a second strike. This wasn't just a minting error. It was a perfect storm of timing, machinery, and luck. The kind of mistake that could only happen once in a generation. And when the final bid came in, the audience gasped. The 1998 penny sold for over $1 million. Collectors were shocked. Dealers rushed to check their own stock. And suddenly, this overlooked coin from the late 90s became the talk of the entire coin community. Some called it the modern $1 million miracle. Others simply called it the Denver Ghost. But here's where the story takes another turn. You see, not every 1998 penny with a strange mark is valuable. There are thousands of fakes and misidentified pieces floating around online. So how can you tell if your penny is one of the rare few worth a fortune? First, you have to look closely at the obverse, the front side with Lincoln's portrait. Focus your attention on the word Liberty and the date 1998. If you notice a faint doubling, especially around the 9 and the 8, that's your first clue. Real double dies from the Denver Mint that year show a distinct separation of lines, not just a shadow or blur. Under proper lighting, you'll see two clear impressions that appear slightly offset. Second, examine Lincoln's eye and mouth. On genuine examples, you'll notice a subtle extra outline, as if the design was struck twice with incredible precision. This is what separates a minor machine error from a true die variety, and this is what collectors are paying massive money for. But there's more. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial, look for any signs of die deterioration or stretching around the words United States of America. Some rare examples display a minute doubling in that area too. Combine all these signs, and you might be holding something extraordinary. One collector once said. It's not just the era that makes it valuable, it's the story behind it. And the story of the 1998 penny is pure lightning in a bottle. A mistake that shouldn't exist. A discovery that almost went unnoticed. And a moment that changed one man's life forever. Because when the winning bid crossed the $1 million mark, he realized what every coin hunter dreams of, that real treasure doesn't always come in gold or silver. Sometimes, it's sitting right in your pocket change, disguised as something ordinary. And here's the twist. Experts believe there could be more of these 1998 double-die pennies still out there. Mint records suggest that multiple dies were struck the same way before being pulled from production. Which means, your next handful of change could hold one of them. Just imagine, you're buying coffee, you hand over a penny without thinking, and that single coin could have been worth over $1 million. It's happened before. It could happen again. Dealers today are paying high premiums for verified 1998 double-die pennies, especially those graded by PCGS or NGC in mint state condition. Even lower grades can fetch thousands. But the real prizes, the ones with crisp, flawless doubling, are the ones setting records at auction.so. Before you spend your next penny, stop and look. Tilt it under the light. Grab a magnifying glass if you have to. Because that one small moment of curiosity could change everything. Most people throw these coins into jars, never realizing what they hold. But the true collectors, the dreamers, the searchers, know that history hides in plain sight. Every coin tells a story. Every cent has a secret. And sometimes, that secret is worth more than anyone could imagine. The 1998 Lincoln penny, born from a minting mystery, saved by chance, and sold for over $1 million. But it turned into a $1 million discovery that shocked the entire coin world. It's one of the most mysterious and valuable modern Lincoln pennies ever found. The 2007 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. A coin so ordinary looking, yet so powerful in value, that it transformed one man's pocket change into a $1.2 million miracle. But how could a coin made in the millions be worth that kind of money? The truth behind this penny will leave you speechless. It all began in 2007, a year like any other for the U.S. Mint. Billions of Lincoln pennies rolled off the presses in Philadelphia and Denver. Most were spent, forgotten, or tossed into jars. But somewhere in that endless sea of copper-plated zinc, a handful of coins slipped through the cracks of perfection, coins with subtle, hidden errors that would one day shake the market. One of these error coins was a 2007 Lincoln cent with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks like any other penny, the calm, steady face of Abraham Lincoln on one side, and the familiar Lincoln Memorial on the back. But under the right light, under the right pair of eyes, you'll see something's missing. No. D. No. P. Nothing. Just a smooth field, where the mint mark should have been. At first, collectors brushed it off. Maybe just a worn spot, they thought. But when experts began studying these mysterious 2007 pennies, they realized something extraordinary. These coins were struck from a die meant for testing, a die never intended to be released into circulation. Somehow, a small batch escaped the mint's tight security. And that's when everything changed. A man from Ohio, sorting through his spare change one evening, noticed one penny looked a little too clean. It had no mint mark. Intrigued, he took it to a local coin shop, and within days the news spread like wildfire. That simple penny was authenticated as a rare, no mint mark 2007 test strike, and when it went to auction, it fetched nearly $1.2 million. Collectors were stunned. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on one. Overnight, the 2007 no-mint mark penny became a legend, the kind of discovery every coin hunter dreams about but almost never sees. The answer lies in a combination of timing, rarity, and pure minting mystery. The U.S. Mint uses test strikes before launching new production runs, to check die alignment and metal consistency. Normally, these are destroyed. But a few, very few, somehow slipped into the wild, and in 2007, one of those test strike pennies, lacking a mint mark and struck with near-perfect pressure, ended up in circulation. Experts believe fewer than 10 examples exist. Some say even less. When that Ohio penny sold, the story reignited global interest in modern era coins. Suddenly, everyone was searching through jars, wallets, and coffee cans. Pawn shops were flooded. eBay listings exploded overnight. And in just a few weeks, the humble Lincoln penny became America's most hunted coin once again. Another collector, this time from California, found what appeared to be the same no-mint mark penny. But when he sent it for grading, something shocking was revealed. His coin wasn't just missing a mint mark, it had an ultra-deep mirror finish, a surface so reflective it mirrored light like proof coins made for collectors. That one sold for over $850,000, and experts still debate whether it came from a special experimental batch at the Philadelphia Mint. Some even believe it might have been struck using a proof die by mistake. That's the kind of accident that creates million-dollar legends. Here's where the treasure hunt begins. First, grab your magnifier or jeweler's loupe and look just below the date. A normal 2007 penny will have a tiny letter, P, for Philadelphia or D for Denver. If yours has no mint mark at all, you could be staring at something incredibly rare. Next, check the color and shine. Most 2007 pennies are dull copper-plated zinc, but the rare test strikes have an unusually sharp luster, almost mirror-like. The details on Lincoln's coat, beard, and the columns of the memorial appear razor-crisp. Then, look closely at the rim. A genuine no-mint mark test strike often has slightly broader edges and sharper definition, as though it was struck with more force. Some examples even show faint doubling around the letters, Liberty, or In God We Trust. Coin experts say these rare test strikes were likely made on higher quality planchets, the same kind used for early proof testing. And because the US Mint doesn't keep official records for such test coins, their origins remain wrapped in mystery, which only adds to their allure. In 2021, a collector at a small Midwest coin show unveiled another no-mint mark 2007 penny. It was verified, graded, and insured on the spot, estimated value, over $1 million. Dealers called it the ghost coin, because its existence wasn't supposed to be possible. Each time one surfaces, it sends shockwaves through the numismatic world. Prices rise, attention surges, and more collectors dive back into their change jars, hoping lightning will strike twice. And yet, so many people still have no idea that this rare penny could be sitting quietly in their pocket, purse, or coin jar at home. It's stories like this that remind us why coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a modern treasure hunt. A world where every penny, nickel, or dime could be worth a small fortune. Think about it. One man's ordinary penny became a $1.2 million payday. All because he took a second look. So the next time you're handed change at the grocery store or find a dusty penny under your car seat, don't ignore it. Look closely. Check the year, 2007. Look for that missing mint mark. Examine the shine, the strike, the perfection hiding in plain sight. Because that tiny, forgotten coin could be your ticket to history, and $1 million miracle waiting to happen. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were amazed. But the truth remains simple: treasures still hide in plain sight. And maybe, just maybe. But what happened next turned it into one of the most shocking discoveries of the 21st century. A simple 2002 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, the kind most people walk past every single day, has been valued at up to $1.3 million. And the reason why will leave you speechless. It started, as so many of these unbelievable stories do, with an ordinary day. A coin roll hunter from Ohio was sorting through a batch of pennies he picked up from his local bank. He'd done it hundreds of times before. But that day, something was different. Among the dull brown coins, one penny had a strange look, almost like it was whispering a secret from history. He picked it up and turned it under the light. No mint mark. Just the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln. But the surface shimmered oddly. The color, the texture, even the thickness seemed off. He didn't know it yet, but he was holding one of the rarest modern eras ever to escape the US Mint. Now here's where the story gets truly unbelievable. In 2002, all Lincoln pennies were struck at either the Philadelphia or Denver Mint. Coins from Denver bear the D mint mark, while those from Philadelphia have no mint mark at all. So no mint mark penny wasn't unusual by itself. But this one wasn't a normal Philadelphia strike. Not even close. Collectors soon realized this particular 2002 no mint mark penny was made from a transitional planchet, the wrong type of metal blank. Instead of being made from the standard copper-plated zinc, it was accidentally struck on a 95% copper planchet left over from pre-1982 production. This wasn't supposed to happen. Those blanks were long gone. Or so everyone thought. When the news broke, collectors were stunned. The coin world buzzed with disbelief. How could a leftover copper planchet from the early 1980s find its way into a 2002 production line? Was it a mistake? Or was it something more mysterious? But the real shock came when one of these coins surfaced at auction. Under bright lights, with cameras rolling and bidders holding their breath, the hammer fell, and that small copper coin sold for nearly $1 million. Since then, experts have estimated that a perfect mint-state specimen could reach up to $1.3 million today. But what made this coin so special wasn't just the metal. It was the combination of errors: the texture, the planchet, the faint doubling on Lincoln's profile, and the unique strike pressure. It told a story only a trained eye could see. And that's why dealers everywhere began checking their own 2002 pennies under magnification, hoping lightning would strike twice. One man from Florida claimed he almost spent his own 2002 penny on a coffee before realizing the color looked too red, too pure. When he checked the weight, it came in at 3.1 grams instead of 2.5. That single detail changed everything. It was copper. He sent it for grading, and within weeks, his find was authenticated, a genuine transitional error. His life changed overnight. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. As word spread, counterfeiters started trying to copy the $1 million penny. Fake 2002 copper coins flooded online auctions, tricking unsuspecting collectors. Experts warned, if the weight isn't exactly 3.1 grams and the strike details don't match the known dies, it's a fake. That wave of counterfeits only made the real ones more valuable. Genuine specimens became almost mythical, and their prices soared. Some say fewer than 10. Others believe just 3 real examples have ever been confirmed. The U.S. Mint has never issued an official statement, leaving collectors to speculate endlessly. Was it an unnoticed production error? Or could someone inside the mint have intentionally struck a few using leftover blanks, knowing someday they'd become treasures? That one last 2002 no mint mark copper penny remains out there, still in circulation, still undiscovered. Imagine that. Somewhere in a jar of change, in a gas station drawer, or at the bottom of a kid's piggy bank, could be a coin worth over $1 million. Collectors are racing against time to find it. They know that condition is everything. A lightly circulated coin could bring hundreds of thousands. But a pristine, mint-state version, with no scratches, no discoloration, and that telltale copper tone, that's the jackpot. That's the $1 million miracle everyone dreams of. And here's what you should look for. First, check the weight. Most 2002 pennies weigh around 2.5 grams, made from copper-plated zinc. But if yours weighs 3.1 grams, you might be holding one of the copper transitional strikes. Second, look at the color. Real copper has a deep, warm reddish tone that doesn't fade to gray like zinc. And third, examine the rim and details. Genuine errors often have slightly softer edges, and sometimes even faint doubling on the date or lettering. But here's a detail most people miss: the sound. Tap it gently on a wooden surface. Zinc pennies give off a dull click, but copper ones ring with a clear, metallic tone. That sound has become a collector's secret test, one that's turned disbelief into fortune. As more stories emerged, the legend of the 2002 no mint mark penny grew. From small-town coin shops to massive auction houses, everyone had heard whispers of the $1 million penny, but few had actually seen one. Each time a new example surfaced, prices climbed higher, and the competition to own one became fierce. One dealer even claimed that a private collector offered $1.3 million cash just to secure the last known specimen before it hit public auction. Whether that sale ever truly happened remains a mystery, But the rumor alone fueled a wave of excitement across the collecting world. What makes this story so powerful isn't just the money, it's the idea that a life-changing treasure could still be hiding in plain sight. That something as ordinary as a penny could rewrite a person's destiny. Every collector knows the thrill of possibility, that one day, your loose change might hold history's next miracle. So the next time you get a handful of pennies back at the store, don't overlook them. Don't assume they're worthless. Because the 2002 No Mint Mark Lincoln penny has proven one thing beyond doubt: even in the most ordinary places, extraordinary fortune can still be found. Check your change, weigh your coins, listen for that clear copper ring, and never underestimate what might be hiding right in front of you. But when one sharp-eyed collector looked closer, what he found turned into one of the wildest discoveries in modern numismatics. A 1977 Lincoln penny worth up to $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent, struck nearly half a century ago, now valued higher than most luxury homes. It began like so many stories do, with an ordinary man, an old coffee can, and a handful of forgotten coins. He wasn't a professional collector. He wasn't even searching for treasure. He was simply cleaning out his father's garage when he stumbled upon a dusty old tin filled with pennies from the 1970s. But one coin caught his attention. It looked different. The color was richer, the surface unusually sharp, and the tiny mint mark seemed oddly placed. What he didn't realize then was that he was holding one of the rarest minting mistakes ever made by the Denver Mint. A coin so unique that it would later make headlines and stun experts across the nation. Because this wasn't your everyday Lincoln penny, this was a hidden masterpiece of American minting history, born from a rare error that most people would never even notice. Collectors were shocked when they heard the news. Dealers rushed to their safes. Everyone wanted to know, how could a simple 1977 penny be worth over $1 million? The answer lies in the strange, almost accidental combination of minting errors that came together for just a handful of these coins. But before we reveal exactly what makes this penny worth a fortune, let's step back into 1977, a year of disco lights, gas lines, and copper coins that looked like every other cent in circulation. At the Denver Mint, billions of Lincoln pennies were produced that year. Most rolled off the presses perfectly fine. But a small batch, perhaps only a few dozen, came out with a striking difference. Some experts believe that a leftover 95% copper planchet, meant for older coinage, was accidentally used during a transition test. Others point to a double die striking error, where the image of Lincoln's portrait and the date were impressed twice, creating a ghost-like doubling effect that's nearly invisible to the naked eye but unmistakable under magnification. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When the first verified 1977 era penny appeared at auction, collectors couldn't believe their eyes. The coin's surface shimmered like it had just left the mint, yet the details told a different story: faint doubling on Liberty, a misaligned mint mark, and subtle variations in the rim that experts described as a perfect storm of minting anomalies. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. From that moment, the legend of the 1977 penny exploded across the collector community. Dealers began scouring every coin show, every online auction, and every estate collection, hoping to find another. Some even claimed to have found near matches, pennies with partial doubling or off-center strikes. But only a handful met the exact conditions that made the original so valuable. What makes this coin so mysterious is that it doesn't shout its worth. It hides it. It looks like any other old penny, until you really look. And that's the beauty of it. Somewhere, in someone's drawer or old jar, another 1977 mint error could be sitting unnoticed, waiting to rewrite history again. Look closely. Start with the mint mark. On the rare error, the D is slightly off-center, sometimes even touching the base of the date. Next, check Liberty and In God We Trust. Under magnification, if you see faint doubling or a shadow-like outline, you may have stumbled upon something extraordinary. And then, feel the weight. Most 1977 pennies are copper-plated zinc, weighing around 2.5 grams. But the rare errors were struck on older 95% copper planchets, weighing closer to 3.1 grams. That small difference could mean the difference between 1 cent and $1.4 million. Collectors have described finding one of these as a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Some cry, some laugh, and others just stare in disbelief. Imagine holding a coin you've seen your whole life, only to realize it could change your entire life. Dealers are still hunting. Auctions still buzz with rumors. Every few years, another example surfaces, reigniting the fire. And every time, the price climbs higher. Some experts believe that if another pristine example appeared today, it could surpass $1.5 million easily. But here's the real secret. Most of these valuable coins aren't found in professional collections. They're discovered by ordinary people who pay attention. Someone cleaning out an attic. Someone rolling up old change. Someone who still believes that hidden treasures can appear when you least expect them. That's the magic of coin collecting. It's not just about money, it's about mystery, history, and that electrifying moment when you realize you're holding a piece of the past that no one else knew existed. So, before you spend that 1970 penny sitting in your change jar, take a closer look. Examine every detail. Because the next $1 million penny might not be in a museum or a collector's vault. It might be in your pocket right now. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were stunned. And one lucky man became a millionaire overnight, all because he paid attention to a penny. Every coin has a story. Every year hides a secret. And sometimes, one small detail can turn an ordinary cent into a once-in-a-lifetime fortune. But instead, it turned into a life-changing discovery worth over $1.5 million. A simple 1999 Lincoln penny, no mint mark, quietly hiding in plain sight, became one of the most shocking stories in modern coin collecting history. And the craziest part? You could have one just like it sitting in your pocket right now. In 1999, the U.S. Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents, nothing out of the ordinary. But buried among those billions, something extraordinary happened. Somewhere in the Philadelphia Mint, where coins are struck without a mint mark, a small number of pennies left the presses with something so bizarre, so unexpected, that it stunned the coin world decades later. These weren't your typical copper-plated zinc cents. Some were struck using misaligned dies, others with doubled features, and one coin in particular revealed a mistake so rare that it forever changed how collectors view modern pennies. When the story broke, it didn't come from a professional dealer or a lifelong collector. It came from an ordinary man, someone who didn't even realize he was holding $1 million miracle. He had emptied his pockets after a long day at work, noticed a strange shine on one of his pennies, and almost tossed it into a jar. But something about the way Lincoln's profile looked, slightly doubled, slightly off, made him pause. That pause changed his life. He sent the coin to be examined by professionals, and what they found left them speechless. The penny displayed a rare die error, a doubling that was so crisp and so well defined it could only have come from a minting mistake during a very limited production window. Experts estimated that fewer than a handful of these coins were ever struck before the error was corrected. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When the coin went up for auction, bidding started in the thousands. Within minutes, collectors from around the globe were fighting for it. Prices soared past $100,000, then $500,000, and by the end of the night, it had shattered all expectations, selling for over $1.5 million. A single penny, worth more than most homes, and yet that's only the beginning. The 1999 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has become a legend among modern coin collectors. Dealers whisper about it at shows, collectors study it under microscopes, and new hobbyists dream of finding one. The secret lies in the details. Tiny clues that can turn a common coin into a priceless treasure. Look closely at the date. The 1999 doubled die of verse variety shows clear doubling in the word, liberty, and the phrase, "In God we trust." It's not fuzzy or weak, it's bold, crisp, and undeniable. The letters appear almost as if they've been stamped twice, slightly offset. Most people who find these coins have no idea what they're holding. They spend them, roll them up for the bank, or toss them into a jar without a second thought. But sharp-eyed collectors know better. They know that every 1999 penny is worth a second look, because hidden among them are pieces worth a fortune. One coin dealer described the discovery as lightning in a bottle. He said, "It's the kind of find that keeps collectors awake at night, dreaming of what might be sitting unnoticed in a handful of change." And he's right. The U.S. Mint's production process is incredibly precise, which makes major doubling errors extremely rare, especially in late 20th century coins. That's what makes this penny so special. It shouldn't exist, but it does. Imagine walking into a convenience store, buying a coffee, getting 96 cents back, and realizing one of those pennies could change your entire life. That's not fantasy. It's happened before. The 1999 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has proven that even in modern times, the dream of finding $1 million coin in circulation is still alive. But here's where the story gets even more fascinating. Some experts believe that the error wasn't caught immediately at the mint because the doubling was subtle under standard inspection lighting. Others suspect that a brief mechanical shift caused the dies to strike out of alignment, creating the doubled image on only a few dozen planchets before being replaced. Either way, it means that those coins, the real ones, are unimaginably rare. Collectors were shocked when new examples appeared years later, found by accident in old coin rolls, in family savings jars, even inside school donation boxes. Each one confirmed what experts had long suspected: this error was real, and it was historic. And each discovery reignited the fever, the idea that you don't need to be rich to find something priceless. You just need to look closely. But what makes this penny worth $1 million isn't just the mistake itself. It's the condition. Coins that show minimal wear, clean surfaces, and strong doubling fetch astronomical prices. A circulated example might bring thousands, but one in near-perfect mint state condition? That's where the numbers skyrocket into the hundreds of thousands, and beyond. Dealers have compared the frenzy over the 1999 no-mint Mark penny to the discovery of the 1955 double die cent, another coin that turned ordinary Americans into overnight millionaires. The excitement, the mystery, the sheer possibility that something so small could be worth so much, it's what fuels the entire hobby. But here's the real twist. Most people never realize what they're holding until it's too late. Many of these rare pennies have already been spent, lost, or sitting unnoticed in collections that haven't been checked in years. And that's exactly why collectors are hunting harder than ever. So, if you have a jar of old pennies sitting around, now's the time to look. Take out your 1999s, especially those with no mint mark. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Study the letters, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see strong, distinct doubling, not just a shadow or blur, you might be staring at a coin worth hundreds of thousands, maybe even over $1 million. And one more thing: never clean the coin. Never polish it. Even a light cleaning can destroy its value. Professional graders can determine authenticity and condition without any alteration. Send it to a certified grading service like PCGS or NGC if you suspect you've found something special. The truth is, stories like this remind us why coin collecting is more than a hobby, it's a treasure hunt. Every coin tells a story. Some stories are common. But a few, like the 1999 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, tell a story of mystery, luck, and unimaginable reward. So before you spend that handful of change, take one more look. Because the next time you check your pocket, you might be holding history. You might be holding the very coin that could change your life forever.